We have Michael on the phone, who we were speaking to just a few minutes ago. He watched the show on Friday on television, and it was an episode on Let There Be Stuff. And, Michael, did you know any of this stuff was happening prior to the TV show?
Yes, we watch pretty much you daily and listen to you on the radio daily. So our radar is as good as it can be when it comes to things like this.
Okay. And what did you take away from the TV show on Friday?
Well, I took away it made us afraid of what they might be teaching our kids in our Sunday school classes. Thankfully, ours are toddlers. But it gives us doubts as to the long-term curriculum that our church might be having now that we've been subjected to this message over the weekend.
Okay. So your radar was up in the first place on things like social justice and et cetera, and you've been looking for it. And then you watched on Friday, and you saw what the Tides Foundation is doing. They are making new cartoons and everything else for kids, and a 6-part series for churches called Let There Be Stuff. And it is the story of creation, which is so bizarre that the Tides Foundation would be doing. A story of creation and God, and how capitalism is evil and not in line with God. And a lot of it has some truth to it, as it always is. And then it is mixed with really just, almost demonic kind of stuff. So you got to church on Sunday, yesterday, and what happened?
We walked in, we grabbed the program, and on the cover of the program it says, Better Way. They want to show us a better way to live. And below the title it says, first thing is, do justice. And when I saw that, the hair on my neck bristled, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be good. We walked in, sat down, our pastor came out and immediately introduced a video that he was going to show us, which was a typical stick figure cartoon video that we've all come to know, thanks to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hiding social justice under the guise of fair trade. And after looking at the producers of the video, on their website it says, fair trade is essentially the exchange of goods based on principles of economic and social justice. And I'm like, oh man, what are we in for now in our church? Because this is not normal for our church. And they also said that one of the myths of the good life is that what I have is mine to use as I please, and one of the truths is that if we all share, we will all have enough.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, we didn't walk out. Everybody said, why didn't you walk out? I said, well, we wanted to take notes, and we're glad we did, because now we have a whole bunch of material. But boy.
What was the name of the church? Do you mind saying?
I don't. It's Crossroads Church in northern Colorado in Loveland. There's more than one in Colorado, but we're in northern Colorado. About 5,000 to 7,000 people. We have 4 services.
Is that non-denominational, or is it?
Non-denominational evangelical church.
Do you have, did you get a sense from anyone else that they sensed it, or were you alone?
So far, I've been looking at our church blog, nothing there. I've been looking on Facebook, nothing there. A couple people I know have said that they've been thinking the same thing, because we missed the last 2 Sundays due to family visits, and the last 2 Sundays had similar messages, not as strong, but last week passed multiple references to people being afflicted with wealth. And 2 weeks ago, the other pastor referenced that the main idea of the Bible was that Jesus wants justice for everyone.
Yes, and he can provide it. Ask your pastor this question. Wasn't Nicodemus rich?
Okay.
Wasn't he a wealthy man? He provided the tomb for the Lord.
You talking about Joseph of Arimathea?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Joseph of Arimathea. He was a wealthy man, And he gave the tomb because he wanted to. He didn't give the tomb to, the Romans. He didn't pay it in tax. He had it. Now, is he a bad guy? Was he an evil dude? Was he afflicted with wealth?
Absolutely.
I mean, it is not the wealth. Ask them what is the root of all evil? It is the love of money. Not money, not wealth, not stuff. It is the love of stuff.
And when they bring up the story, and they will, inevitably they will, of the rich man who wouldn't give up everything he had and follow Jesus.
That's exactly the point.
That's the point.
He didn't give it up. He wasn't willing to give it up.
I mean, the chances are that if he were willing, he wouldn't have had to. He wouldn't have had to give it all up.
Look, it is all about, again, it is all about the change of heart. This is where charity goes wrong. It's a change of heart. He asks, what is it, Master, that I have to do? What do I have to do? Leave all your stuff and come follow me. No. Well, okay, that's what it is. Now, that doesn't necessarily, he may have meant leave all of your stuff and follow. But he may not have meant leave all of your stuff. It depends on the individual. You have that conversation with the Lord. Now, are you willing to lose? This is all that the Lord needs from you. Are you willing to do the things that he asks you to do? Are you willing to do those things? Are you willing to lose your life for him? Are you willing to lose your fortune for him? Are you willing to lose your station for him? Or what are you willing to lose? If you're willing to lose everything, only then can the Lord use you. But I got news for you. Do you think the Lord wants everybody to be poor and only the people who worship Satan to have money? Why would he do that? Does money play no role at all in God's work? Of course it does.
Silly.
Of course it does.
And what good does it do anybody if the government is taking it from you and they distribute it? You haven't done anything.
You know what you've
done?
The only thing that you have redistributed is greed.
Yep.
That's all you've done.
It's gone from you to the government.
To the government.
That's all. To
the people who are now ruling over you. It's insanity. It's insanity. Well, so what are you going to do on your church? Are you going to stay? Are you going to go? Or what are you going to do?
Seems like every day my wife and I are getting, it's only been a few hours now, but we wake up and we feel a little worse and worse and kind of feel sick because it's our church.
I know.
And now
our
trust is violated. And now we have to, I think the best thing to do is go talk to the pastor. But I don't know if we can continue putting our trust in them to teach our children.
May I ask you to go look up on the internet the letter from Thomas Jefferson to Peter Carr. You can find it, I think, also in the Book of Virtues by Bill Bennett. It is something that changed my life. And a lot of people who are atheists will say, see, he's quoting Thomas Jefferson, and this is the proof that he was an atheist. No. The phrase is, above all things, when it comes to religion, fix reason firmly in her seat, and question with boldness even the very existence of God. For if there be a God, he must surely rather honest questions over blindfolded fear. When you really think of that phrase, you must fix reason firmly in her seat. Why do you have to do that? Because we are so attached to our churches and our faith. Remember, your church is run by men. Don't put your faith in men or in a building. Your faith needs to be in God. And God is where God is. So if something is going on, don't get trapped into the feeling of, well, it's where we go. It's where we're comfortable. It's where we... No. search for truth, fix reason in her seat, and question with boldness even the very existence of God. You cannot be 1% wrong on this with your children. You can't be. You have to believe it with everything in you, and don't con yourself. If you go to your pastor and you're like, you know what, I got it and it's right, and maybe you even go and you say, you know what, this social justice thing, he's convinced me. Good. Believe it 100%. You must be standing with like-minded people. The things that are coming our way, I'm telling you, our churches are going to change, and you are going to see a split in our churches, and the people who were sitting there are going to be asked to choose: do we stand for these things? Do we believe these things or not? And the churches that start to get tough and say, you know what, things are out of control, and we have to stand for the principles of what we've always said we were. They're going to lose a lot of members, but they're going to gain a lot of people, because there's a lot of people going to the churches that are soft that are going to get even softer or more state-run, and they're going to say, what am I doing here? We may be finding ourselves in a point of playing musical chairs. Like I said, everything you thought you could believe in and trust is changing. That may include your party, your location, your job, your insurance company, and your faith. Challenge is not a bad thing. You challenge your faith, it'll only get stronger, because you'll know it's true. Don't be afraid. God's there, and he'll be there no matter what you find.